Hello, friends and fellow lovers of all things beachy. Welcome to The Beach Speaks, the podcast that shares stories about the beach and our connection to it. I'm your host and beach lover, Paige Friend, helping you reconnect with the beach, return to your soul, and reimagine your life. So grab a cool drink, relax in your beach chair, stick your toes in the sand, and enjoy this episode of The Beach Speaks. Hey, Austin.
Hi.
Hey. I am so glad that you decided to hop on the podcast today because I needed something for this coming month. I'm taking May off because I'm traveling, and I kind of wanted to give the listener some time to go back and check out some episodes that they might have missed or the ones that they really enjoyed. And for the new listener, just to kind of get familiar with the podcast at all. So I know you are my number one fan. And you always have something great to say about each episode. I'm hoping that you have some kind of takeaway. I wanted you to hop on and just tell me your thoughts. What stands out for you today?
Oh gosh, well, I do listen to every single episode, almost as soon as it comes out. It's, definitely, one of the top shows in my feed. It brings a smile to my face just to hear your voice and your perspective, kind of this, just your general outlook on life since having moved to the beach and kind of started that phase of your life. I feel like it's just like extremely inspiring. And I love to hear, about the different people that you get to interact with at the beach and the things that they're doing in the community. And I think you started the podcast as a way to highlight that conscious community. And that was something that I think the world really needed in the time when your podcast started to come out. I have questions for you about how the podcast has kind of affected your life, but just in general, I just get positive vibes. I get to feel like I'm connecting with my mom over a medium that I basically listen to podcasts all day, every day. So yeah, I mean, if we want to talk about some specific guests, I thought of some superlatives, some little awards maybe that we could talk about with some of the guests.
I love that. I mean, this is episode 65. Why wait until episode 100 to do this?
Yeah, it's never too early for a highlight episode.
Yeah, that would be kind of the best of highlight reel for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before we jump in, I want to ask you, like I ask all my guests, how's the beach speaking to you today?
A lot of times I feel like the beach is calling me back. I really get to enjoy every time when I'm on the coast, because usually it means that I'm visiting you at this point. But just in general, I love the beach. I love the heat. I love the sound of the waves. Usually just, maybe ankle deep water is kind of that good zone for me. But it's saying, that it's always going to be there for me to go back to. And sometimes that's a hard thought to really, encapsulate in my mind. Right now, I'm finishing up graduate school. It's honestly just a pretty stressful situation to be in, just trying to make sure that I'm meeting deadlines. I'm not, I'm getting the clarity in terms of the future, in terms of the end of grad school, starting a career, that kind of thing. But the beach really, really grounds me. And it reminds me that some things are temporary and some things are forever. And the peace that the beach brings is one of those things that's forever. And stress from school is a temporary, is an anomaly, in the universe. So that's what it's saying to me. Yeah.
I love that idea that just that stress is is just temporary and the beach is forever.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my goals is that when you can't get to the beach, I can bring the beach to you, whatever that idea of the beach is. It just might be the peace, the sound, the memories that come back, whatever it is. So I'm glad. And I'm glad I live at the beach. So when you come to visit, you get to see me and you get to get a little taste of the beach to take away with you. There was another question you had asked me when we were talking on the phone the other day. You said something about the intro music.
Yeah, I just wanted to know anything about it because I think when you first dropped your first couple episodes, I just the laughter that it brought to me listening to this guy singing about wanting to be naked on the beach. It was just the perfect way to, like, you know, there are iconic podcast opening like themes or whatever.
Yeah,
I think yours is amongst them because it just gets you in that zone of relaxation, of understanding the motif, and I think you mentioned that Ernie maybe just found it on like an open source music website.
Yeah,
and you rolled with it from there.
Yeah, I knew that I needed intro music. That was important to me, and there still are great open source music programs, and Ernie I think that was like one of the first that he found, and he said, "Hey, listen to this," and we both were cracking up about, you know, being naked on the beach, and it kind of just sets the tone, like you said. It's unique, and it just kind of has a lively thing, so it kind of brings you into that mode. I did think about changing it because I thought, oh, you know, maybe I need something more slow and, you know, beachy kind of thing, or calypso music or something like that. And I thought, you know, no, that's like typical. People won't remember that. But I think, at least in my mind, after I hear the intro, it's like stuck in my head. And
Same.
There are podcasts that I recognize by the intro music. I mean, even before it starts, I'm singing the intro music. I just have it in my head, and I love that. I love that association. So I'm going to stay with it. It's by somebody named Ribeiro, and now that you mention it, I don't think that I have it tagged, so you can find it. So thank you for reminding me. I've got to hunt that down.
Yeah, I mean, if you can find it, I'd appreciate it. It's just so catchy. And I'm one of those people who listen to all their podcasts at 1.5 times speed. So it has like an additional like kind of poppy component to it when you're listening to it faster. So that's my perspective on it. But that I think that, and then have a sea turtle's day at the end has also become an iconic podcast moment for me that I look forward to.
If you're listening for the first time, or if you're a longtime listener and you were wondering who those little girls were at the end, that is Ernie's granddaughters, Ray and Emma, and I think they were 4 years old, almost 5, when they did that.
Oh my God.
And no, they were 5. They had just started kindergarten because their school was the Sea Turtles, and we just thought it was so cute.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we were just practicing with the microphones. I was trying to get them to record and have a conversation, and they were just being super silly. I couldn't get them, to...
Surprise.
Yeah, and then I said, hey, do this. And we had to take like 10 takes because, they kept getting so silly. And finally, we got them both to settle down at the same time. And and that was another thing. I thought, oh no, do I want to keep doing that? Until I think I left it off one episode. And I remember you saying, Mom, that was a really, really great episode except for one thing. I'm thinking, oh no, what did I do? And you said, where was Have a Sea Turtle Day? Well, okay, so we've talked about the intro. What else did you want to know, or what did you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, starting from interesting episodes, I think there's no better place to start than the pilot. That was Rachel Todd's
Yeah.
story. And I thought that, just the way that she used her platform, or she had to develop this platform first, and then the way that she went on to use that platform to really work on conscious community.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was like a perfect first guest for those first couple of episodes that you dropped.
Yeah. Well, she and I have been each other's cheerleader from the moment that we met. I wanted to meet some people in the area that had the same kind of mindset as me, and we hit it off right away. And she was trying to build her mindfulness coaching business, and I said, "Hey, you don't want to hop on the podcast? I'm starting this podcast." And she said, "Absolutely." And I thought, okay, this is good because former Miss United States, I think she'll probably have something good to say.
Hmm.
And she's so well spoken. We had a lot of fun. We were just in her office at her house, and I wanted her to sound really good. I wanted my first episode to sound really good. I think every podcaster is like, we go over it and over it and over it and until we just don't get it out. And the one thing she said to me that has stuck with me ever since is, Paige, done is better than perfect.
Hmm.
I don't care how I sound. Just get it out. Just do it. Because once you do it, then all the others are just going to become easier and easier and easier. And she was right. And then that's the biggest advice that everybody gives to new podcasters. Or really anytime you're creating something and you want to send it out in the world and you're holding on to it because you're thinking, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's good enough.
Hmm.
Just get it out there. And it's kind of funny when podcasters get together and talk about their early episodes and they cringe. They're like, oh gosh, I can't go back and listen to those episodes. They were so awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't gone back to listen to any of them because it's just, I want to move forward and I don't want to go back and cringe.
Well, let me tell you that I was almost expecting kind of, because I know that you've gotten more experience, better with your recording process, better with your editing over, these 65 episodes that you've done.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting to go back to the first one and hear like, oh, the audio wasn't that great. Maybe it was like a little unclear or whatever. No, it was amazing. You've put out quality stuff from day one, so maybe go back and listen to it for the first time in a while, and then you can. I think you'll be proud of what you put out then and how far you've come since then. But I got to give you kudos for that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it is something that I really enjoy, even the editing when it gets all wonky and you have to go over and over and over everything. Just doing it myself gives me a sense of accomplishment and that I can do it well enough that meets my standard that I would want to listen to it is kind of my goal. Okay. So what else?
So let's see. If we want to, so maybe we'll call. Well, Rachel can get her own superlative. I'll let you make the call on that. I hadn't thought of a specific one for her, but if we want to move on to the most enthusiastic guest, in my opinion,
Okay.
I think we're going to have to go with Marc Cordon.
I knew you were going to say that.
That guy brings an energy that is all his own, and it captivated me. Loved his story, loved his perspective. Maybe you can talk about what it was like to record with him.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He's a member of ShiftCo, and we'll probably talk about that later. And when I heard that he had a podcast, and he heard I had a podcast, we were thinking, hey, we should record something. And I was fairly new to this program Squadcast. So we hopped on and we talked and we talked and we talked and we were just like having a conversation. And it was so much fun because he was so excited to tell me how he lived here at Jack's Beach and sang in a punk rock band and did all this stuff. And he was just, yeah, he's just one of a kind. It was fun. And then I lost the files.
Oh, no.
He said, Paige, whatever happened to that podcast that we recorded? I said, well, we're going to have to do it again because it got lost.
Yeah.
The lost files. But it really was just kind of us talking and getting to know each other. So the second time we recorded, we kind of had a better idea of what we wanted to talk about. He lives in Tampa, and we have never met in person. All the times that we kind of drive through Tampa, I say, yeah, we need to stop by and say hi.
Well, we'll have to do that at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe do an in-person follow-up recording.
Yeah. I think he'd rather come over here to the beach.
Yeah.
Hang out here. Okay, so we've got the most enthusiastic.
Mm-hmm. I did, maybe this isn't so much of a superlative, but I did want to do, you have a lot of entrepreneurs on your podcast.
Yeah.
And so I felt like it would be worthwhile to do maybe kind of an entrepreneur spotlight.
Okay.
If anyone has gone on to do, additional interesting work, or if they've grown their businesses, if they're, doing more things in the community or whatever. I think one of the first maybe small business owner type people that you had on was Owen Porter, who runs the Happy Sea. And I was just curious. I was like, oh, let's just see how the site is doing, and it's still up. It appears to be doing very well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have had a chance to check in with her recently or anything, or maybe you have some entrepreneurs of your own that you would like to spotlight.
Yeah. Owen was so lovely to talk to, and I've been meaning to catch up with her and see where she is, because I think she was posting a lot on Instagram from St. Pete. So I'm not sure if she's moved her studio and everything over to St. Pete or not.
Mm.
Yeah, she's so talented. And I bought a bunch of her stickers, and I give them out to people when we have events and things like that, because I just think they're beautiful.
Yeah, they're amazing.
So she's really taken off. I have to say, I have to mention Terry from ShiftCo, really, because she's the one that got me, other than Jim and Mindful Market.
Mm.
She got me really thinking about the podcast as a conscious business, as highlighting conscious businesses. And at the time she was starting ShiftCo to support conscious business entrepreneurs. And she has brought this beautiful group of people together, and it's grown and grown and grown. She said all of us that started with her, she said, you can call yourself a co-founder. You're a co-founder in this. So it's kind of nice to say I'm a co-founder in ShiftCo.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's just so many amazing people in that group. We got together in Cancun, and it was spectacular. I'm going to do an episode about Cancun. And
this will be the teaser, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people, Dennis and Kathy Lang, the yogis that I interviewed.
Right.
Yeah,
They had a similar life transition, right? Where they were kind of corporate and then, got into the mindfulness space. Yeah.
Yeah, they have wonderful workshops and classes and things, not just here, but they go to Mexico, they go to Greece, they're all over the place teaching. All
of your guests bring, whether they're entrepreneurs or not, they definitely bring something very special to the conversation.
Yeah, that was my intent as well, is to have the stories and the people be somewhat unique in what they do. People like that embrace that beachy spirit. And I think that's something that conscious entrepreneurs have in common, is that need to be centered and grounded, and that they all kind of relate to that beachy vibe, and they rely on the beach in some way, shape, or form to really, like I said, get grounded
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, along those lines, let me throw out Alex Sizemore, who was on a recent episode, and talk about a guy connected to the beach in his community. Yeah, that was a great one to listen to.
He has such a passion for this community
Hmm.
and showing it off. He just loves to bring in new people. I mean, he's a realtor, yes, that is his business. However, he's very, very passionate and he wants to see it thrive and not go the way of many beach communities have gone.
Yeah, kind of losing their character. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
And I can tell that, yeah, from the way that he talks about, his knowledge of real estate, of the different vibes of different communities. Like,
Yeah.
it definitely, you can tell that it means something to him and those people to keep that authenticity. Yeah, definitely deserves a shout out. So, yeah, I mean, we've talked about all these super inspiring guests that you've had, and so I was actually thinking of superlative for who the most inspiring or the most inspired guest was going to be. And I'm like, well, gosh, the list is like way too long. So is it possible that your most inspiring guest is yourself? You do some fantastic solo episodes. Your letter to Rich Roll, which I don't think I've gotten a chance to give you feedback on this, but your letter to Rich Roll was, I mean,
Did you like that?
I can't think of a good enough word for it. I could just tell how personal and how much it meant to you.
Yeah.
Hearing about your retreat to Italy. I mean, you had already told me about that before, but just kind of getting it in that package was incredible. And I don't know if you want to talk more about that or any of your other more travel based episodes where you talked about your journey down California or into Central America. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you maybe have a favorite of one of those that you've done.
Well, certainly my letter to Rich Roll is probably the most significant one that I've done and probably the one that's touched my heart the most because it is very personal to me. I was really hesitant to even put it out there and I didn't want to post about it on social media or anything. It took me like 4 or 5 days to even, I don't know why. I just thought, oh my gosh, what if he hears this?
I had that same thought, but like, what if he hears this? Like, what if? Yeah, we gotta get him tuned in.
I know when you read the title, you thought that I actually did talk to him.
Yeah, I thought he was a guest
I
on
know.
the show.
And when you said, "Oh, you're white whale," I said, "Well, yes, but I haven't caught him yet." We all have that person, I think, that we admire and we aspire to, and yeah, that was very special to me, and I'm glad I put it out.
Well, hey, I think only good could come out of that. If he gets to hear it or
Yeah.
someone connected to him or whatever, like just the way that you spoke from your heart, I think it can only bring about positivity and good things.
Yeah, that I was inspired to do that, and I think everyone who does a podcast like this wants to be inspiring in some way, shape, or form, or bring on people that inspire. I mean, I know that's one reason I listen to podcasts is I want it to be interesting. I want to be inspired. I want to hear something that I can take away and put into my own life. And if I can do that in some way, then I feel like I've accomplished something.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I can think of most inspiring guests because they've all been.
Well, I think, your travel episodes with Judy have definitely inspired me to be a little, like I'm so planning oriented. I'm so like, everything has to be like,
Yeah.
I have to go into like big trips knowing every single thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I've got to tell you about that. I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast, but Judy is the perfect person to create your travel experience. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Because we called it the Bible. She gave us thorough instructions every step of the way. She organized our trip down the California coast. And I told her, she knew I was a beach girl. She said, okay, I'm going to scout out the best beaches, the ones that you definitely want to see. And she arranged where we were going to stay. And she printed directions off for us because she knew that some parts of the coast, we wouldn't have cell service, or maybe it would drop out. And she said, I didn't want you to be lost. Little things like that. And then when she sent us to Costa Rica, she arranged these private transfers, and they were like, okay, what are we supposed to do today? And it would say, wake up at 7:15, have breakfast, because at 8:15 your driver is going to be there, and don't forget your sunscreen, kind of stuff like that. And all of the things, we really relied on that for everything we did. She just had everything down.
Yeah,
because we did a lot. We moved around a lot. She and Kathy Taucher, do a really good job. They were the ones that planned the ShiftCo symposium in Cancun. They put that whole thing together. And Josh Tan, who was on the podcast, he did the program. Yeah, so that was definitely inspiring to take that trip and talk about it. In fact, that's one of the most popular podcasts, is my trip to Costa Rica. And probably the most popular. Were you going to go to my most popular, or were we still on the inspiring?
Well, yeah, I mean, people are going to want to listen to it, or at least historically speaking, the statistics say that people are going to want to listen to this episode. So yeah, tell them about it.
Yeah, let's talk about death and life. Yeah, my first episode with Nada Frazier, the death doula, is by far my most popular episode. And I just laugh every time I look at my stats. It still keeps growing. The other episodes are catching up slowly, but that one just keeps growing. And then we did another one a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago, I'm not sure. And that one grew right along with it. And I thought, who knew a podcast about the beach, that the most popular episode would be about death? However, when you think about death doulas, I think that's just something that a lot of people don't know about.
Right.
Or thinking, wow, that's something different. Tell me more about that. And I've referred that episode to a lot of people who are going through some sort of situation in maybe dealing with a terminal illness or a loved one who's passed, and what to do. Even just preparing yourself for the inevitable, because, life and there is death. She had a lot of great things to say about that. I don't know. Did you get any takeaways from listening to that?
Well, I mean, it was all brand new to me, so I was just kind of taking it in. It is a difficult conversation to have a lot of times, but, kind of in retrospect, I see that, like, in that difficulty, there can be peace. In that storm, there can be kind of a shelter. There can be someone who is experienced with death, because honestly, a lot of people aren't. And it's kind of a shock, but it's also an inevitability. So, yeah, it's not one that I personally have gone back and listened to, multiple times or anything, but it's one of the ones that I, like, can definitely appreciate at a very, like, high level, and I see why it's so popular.
There's a lot of episodes to go back and listen to. I really want to bring more of myself into it, so my intention is to do a guest episode and then a solo episode, and bring my stories into whatever conversation I'm having, because this is an extension of me.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And that's I think that's why people listen. I think they come for your soothing voice and your
my voice.
Positive perspective, and it's about as good listening as you can get for free, on the internet. So
thank you. It really means a lot to me that you listen, and those of you who are listening right now, my voice is in your ears, and I really, really appreciate that. If there's anything about this podcast that you love, or you hear an episode that you really love, share it. That is the best way we can get the podcast out into the world, into more ears. I mean, we search for certain ones, but I think the ones that are most memorable for me, the ones that I enjoy the most, are ones that a friend has recommended. So I encourage you and everyone out there is listening to share it. I want to bring the beach to as many people as I can.
Are you considering expanding to any other mediums? Like, have you thought about starting like a YouTube page, or I mean,
Yeah.
that's like probably the other form of content that I consume probably most regularly is certain like YouTube creators. I don't know if you're
Absolutely.
into that, or
Yeah.
even TikTok. I mean, I'm not a big TikToker myself, but
YouTube is definitely on my radar.
hmm
We're not recording this video wise, although I have the option to do that. I don't know if I'm quite ready for video yet in this form. However,
yeah,
I love to take videos of the ocean, of the beach, and I'm thinking of doing something like that and maybe have a short portion of the podcast like that, and then you can go and listen to the entire podcast, either there on YouTube or on whatever platform you listen to. That's kind of my next goal. I'm trying to just kind of get a handle on what I'm doing now, although I think I'm doing pretty well.
Oh no, you've done so well. You've done so well.
Oh, thanks. The beach is speaking. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Beach Speaks. If you liked what you heard, share the podcast with another beach lover. And speaking of sharing, I want to know how the beach is speaking to you. To record a message, just go to my website, thebeachspeaks.com, click the voicemail button, it's super easy, and I'll play it on the show. And if more beach is what you crave, visit thebeachspeaks.com or follow The Beach Speaks on Facebook and Instagram, where I post all my gorgeous sunrise photos and videos. It's another way for you to reconnect with the beach, return to your soul, and reimagine your life. The beach is speaking. Are you listening?